Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the Ultimate Property Management Virtual Masterclass. This is part 3, hosted by Real Estate Investor. And today's third masterclass of 2021 is officially sponsored by WeconnectU, developers of intelligent property management software to enable you to scale and deliver more value to your clients. My name is Neil Peterson. I'm the founder of Real Estate Investor, South Africa's leading independent digital real estate platform for over 14 years already, geared for investors, landlords, developers, property practitioners, and entrepreneurs. Interesting. So our next speaker, he's also a co-founder of WeConnectU. He was previously MD of PropConnect, who specialized in sectional title and homeowners association management, where he gained valuable property experience. And his topic this morning is looking into the future. What does it hold for the property management market in South Africa? And he's going to run through something called the PESTLE analysis. So please welcome Danie van der Merwe.
Thank you very much, Neil. What a pleasure it is to be part of this masterclass number 3. Also, thank you to Michael, Yuan, and Tubi for setting the stage. And guys, I'm really glad we were able to adapt to the real threat of internet connectivity today. Thankfully, we had another hotspot on our phones. All right, so let's get stuck in. We don't have too much time. We'll be discussing, like Neil said, the future of property management, looking at it through the eyes of a PESTLE analysis. So the first question is, what is a PESTLE analysis? And a PESTLE analysis is a tool used to gain a macro picture of an industry environment. PESTLE stands for political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental factors. It allows a company to form an impression of the factors that might impact a new business or an industry. Now, there's a good saying, you can't see the forest for the trees. And that expression is used of someone who is too involved in the details of a problem and cannot see the situation as a whole. Now, having been a property manager myself, I definitely find myself in that position many times. And if you don't deliberately buy out the time to look at things from a macro perspective, amazing opportunities come and go, and you are unable to take advantage. The inverse, unfortunately, is also true. There might be threats looming, and you get caught with your pants around your ankles, like internet connectivity dropping this morning. And then if you do not have a plan B, you are unable to respond to that adversity. So let's spend the next couple of minutes really just thinking big. All right, so what will we get out of the PESTLE analysis? The main thing we will be getting out of this is being able to identify opportunities and threats from a macro perspective. And then these opportunities and threats, as communicated a little bit earlier, will be used in your SWOT analysis later in your business plan. All right, in unpacking the PESTLE analysis, we will have a 2-step approach. The first step of unpacking this topic today, we will look at PESTLE, but for no particular industry, just really from a broad perspective. And then secondly, we will apply the PESTLE analysis to the property management industry. All right, so let's look at the macro perspective. As we said, the first a factor that we're looking at is political. So how stable is our government, and what is the global influence, political influences that we can expect from a political perspective? Secondly, economic. Is our economy growing, and what effect can that have on people? Employment rates, I think we're at a record low currently at the moment. So how is the economy potentially affecting our businesses? And then socially, income distribution, demographic influences, lifestyle factors. I think that one is definitely impacting a lot of business at the moment, and cultural barriers definitely also something to consider if staying in a country like South Africa. Technological. So what is those emerging technologies? Adoption rates, cybersecurity definitely needs to be top of mind as well from a technology perspective. Then legal, there has been quite a few legal changes, but again, looking at legalities from a macro perspective. And then lastly, environmental. So things like attitudes of consumers, the climate, pollution, going paperless as examples that we will be discussing today. So again, what can we get out of this really macro perspective? Some of us might feel that, Danie, this has got really very little to do with the issues that I have to deal with on a daily basis. And you might be right, it might not impact you directly, but there's value because it could impact a key stakeholder, which in turn will affect your operations. And maybe, just maybe, it is a good thing to once a year step out of the typical issues we might be facing and look at other industries and how these macro variables are impacting them. In order to appreciate what we have, we sometimes need to understand the challenges that other industries face as well. We don't really have time to labor the point, but I think a great example, very recent example, is the tourism industry that were unable really to survive, through lockdowns and recessions, while the property manager, and maybe more specifically the community manager, were able to adapt and for the most part enjoyed a steady income. All right, so let's apply then PESTLE to the property management industry with the understanding of that macro perspective. What we'll be doing is listing key events under each factor for everybody's consideration. Please note, we will not be the judge today whether it is in fact an opportunity or a threat. That is where you have to ask yourself that question. On each key aspect, based on where you are in your business, the skill and experience of your team, and then obviously a couple of other factors. Ask yourself, will this key event be a threat, or could this be an opportunity for us in our business? All right, so let's start with a political. So there's a couple of political events. I'm going to dive into a couple just briefly, just to sparkle some ideas. But yeah, we definitely dealing with an unstable political environment. A great example, I think, was the recent unrest and looting of so many properties, businesses, and malls, mainly in Durban, but also in various other areas in the country. And then looking at municipal service delivery, or should we say the lack thereof in certain areas, could some of these services be delivered privately? We're definitely seeing a key trend where certain residential areas are closed off and getting privately managed, similar to an HOA. That is a great example where something that is generally posed as a threat could actually be turned into an opportunity. And then there was recent announcement from the president on the 10th of June 2021 to increase the licensing threshold of electricity to 100 megawatt. Question to ask maybe is, can some community schemes get off the grid? And who else can benefit from this announcement? All right, then next we've got the economic events. So currently we are experiencing a record low interest rate. In fact, this has been the lowest it's been in the last 50 years. And how does that affect you? We've definitely seen a huge surge in first-time buyers. I think some tenants feel for the same price I'm renting, they can actually buy that property at the moment. And then the question, how long will this interest rate remain low? I did see the Reserve Bank unanimously voted to keep the repo rate unchanged on the 23rd of September. But then at the same time, there's definitely economic pressures for many businesses. And there's definitely a struggle, and the disposable income of many consumers are hard pressed. So, how will that effectively, impact us? We have seen also communities being a key place where people want to live, because there they can share some benefits like pools, like security. So that's definitely driving growth in that sector. And then lastly, will Eskom be able to keep the lights on? And if not, how will that impact you for the future? Thirdly, social events, increased crime without any doubt, together with economic factors, have been driving growth in community schemes, I should say security community schemes. And the current key trend, work from home and online shopping, has definitely placed pressure on the retail and office space property segments. I've seen on the news that there's some landmark office spaces are currently being converted into residential units. So there's things to consider there as well. And then there's a rise in the work, live, play developments. It seems senseless to drive hours from work. So, hey, let's try and do everything in and around our home. All right, then we're moving on to those technological events, software as a service, that SaaS adoption, without any doubt, a key factor for consideration. How fast can your team adapt? And this is an ever-changing, fast-paced environment, and companies that are able to adapt quickly will be able to take advantage of the benefits provided through SaaS applications. Then there's IoT and artificial intelligence rolling out. I can just imagine back in the days, imagine if we never have a Friday night geyser burst ever again, because sensors that was placed in the geysers told us prior to bursting that the pressure is mounting and maintenance is needed. That would have saved quite a few nice weekends for me personally. And then it is actually said that tech and human interaction is core to the fifth industrial revolution. So exactly how are you going to position your team in terms of technology in order to adapt and take advantage of, let's call it, the fifth industrial revolution? Legal, yeah, so we all experienced Poppy the last couple of months. Some feel that it's now a competitive advantage because they actually have it in place really well. The partners that they make use of obviously comply as well, but others are falling behind, and it's really just red tape that keeps them, behind. And then there's still the Property Practitioners Act, as well as the Rental Housing Act, that will come into force very soon, or at least we don't know when, but it's going to come into force. And will that actually be an opportunity or a threat in your business? Lastly, but not least, environmental factors. Now, it was not long ago that we still had a property management company, and I remember how the portfolio managers printed every single email and filed. Now, that, as crazy as it may sound today, was normal. It was normal and very expensive. Now, today we expected to consider the environment, and it's amazing to see how many companies have been able to go virtually completely paperless. We also have seen an emerging of a client or a consumer that is used to drive-through. We've heard it a few times today, but they want it now. They want transparency. And that's just a couple of factors that we have picked up that needs to be considered in your property management PESTLE analysis. What I'd like to do or ask now is that everybody go to Mentimeter, and if you have not done so already, please go and answer these two important questions. Which of the PESTLE factors have had the biggest negative impact on your business in the past 24 months? And do you believe the opportunities and innovation overshadows the threats and the challenges in this industry? Please go to Mentimeter and place those votes now. What we will also be providing for you guys as a next step is a PESTLE matrix. We will provide this, as I said, and typically what you want to do here is, in terms of the PESTLE factor political, you want to mention that event, the couple that we've jotted down today. You want to basically go through a process of saying how likely it is that it will happen in your world, the impact that it will have. Is it a key trend, or is it a critical uncertainty? And then based on your business, would that be an opportunity or threat? So just key takeaways: the future of property management. In summary, factors, there is definitely, without any doubt, as we look at PESTLE for property management, there's factors driving growth in the industry. We have seen that it's probably in certain segments in the industry. So we do have to take a note of that and plan strategically accordingly. And then secondly, there is also definitely factors driving complexity and challenges. And then lastly, there is also factors driving innovation and transformation, which is really, really exciting. And in conclusion from my side, companies who can read the macro influences early, build value propositions to take advantage of opportunities, and convert some of the threats to become unique selling propositions will see exponential growth and build highly scalable businesses.
For the results, and this is the first question, and this was, which of the PESTLE factors have had the biggest negative impact on your business in the past 24 months? And top of the pile with 21 responses is economic factors, followed by legal matters and property-related laws. And in fact, political, interesting, as unstable as it is, actually features much lower. So, so the impact, we can start blaming the political environment, but let's look at economic. But the two are probably related, I would say. So, so any comments on that, Danie, just from your perspective?
Yeah, I think obviously that's the feeling currently. I think I'm not what do you call it, a predictor, if that's the right word, but I do think the social issues are going to actually start to play a bigger role. I think that the legal matters definitely relates to Poppy. That was quite recent, top of mind for all people. We're all still feeling the impact of the new Sectional Title Management Act as well. So, yes. So those changes are definitely still dealt with. But yeah, the pandemic and the after effects of the pandemic, I think those social issues might be things to really have a look at in terms of the next, couple of months and years lying ahead. But yeah, it's interesting.
It is. Okay, question number 2, which is the, do you believe the opportunities and innovations overshadow the challenges? Yes, and I think there's a majority yes over there, which is good news. Once again, we've got to look at those 4 people that say no. We need to make them a little bit more positive. and yeah, I think we've got to look at opportunities and first. And so I think really interesting data. Danie, thank you very much.